Hi guys, thanks for clicking on this video. I'm so glad you're here. Today I have Hubby. Welcome, Hubby. Today we're doing the How We Met tag. I don't know if this is a tag, but we're gonna talk about how we met. So we met in Colorado. I'm from Washington.
I'm from California, San Diego. Was looking for colleges, and I checked out some of the California schools, but I just didn't really feel a strong urge to go to any of the UC schools. All right, so side note, in 8th grade,
It's okay. Nick the novel.
I did a history report on the state of Colorado, and
I didn't actually know this.
I loved it. And I forget if we chose the state or if I picked it. I forget.
That's the same thing.
But no.
If we chose the state or if I picked it.
Okay, all right, sorry, I gotta give you real
a
options.
sign?
I thought yeah.
I don't know if we chose it or we picked it.
Doesn't matter. Colorado. I did a report on it, and I was like, this state is stinking cool. But I ended up going to UNC. They just had a really good program for athletic training, which is what I was pursuing at the time. That's how I got there to Colorado.
The first time I went to Colorado was to visit my brother, who went to a Christian discipleship school out there. I didn't think that I was going to ever go to that school. I was actually very against going to that school, but the way the Lord works, a couple months later I ended up applying, and so I was there in the fall of 2012. And then I came back here for a while after doing that, and some big life things happened, hard things happened, and so I was kind of at this place in my life where I was like, okay, I'm kind of starting from scratch now. All the plans that I made for myself had failed and fallen through. So I kind of just prayed about stuff and where I was gonna go next, and I ended up thinking about Colorado again and praying about wanting to go back. The Lord just provided a place for me to stay with an awesome family. I ended up moving maybe a month later. It moved.
That's real quick.
Yeah, it moved really fast, but I also was just at this point where I didn't have a job at the time because I had quit my job. A lot of other things had happened, but I pursued being a Young Life leader, and I was actually thinking about this, which is really funny. So we met in Young Life. There's where we're going with this.
Spoiler.
I looked up trainings, and I ended up going to this training on the Colorado State campus. We're all doing this huge Young Life training thing, and I was meeting a bunch of people and really interested in doing Young Life. I don't know what it was, but I think I reached out to the lady that I had been in contact with, and I just said, is there any place that's closer to where I live? Because the school was pretty far away.
Yeah.
It was 25, 30 minutes away, and I lived 2 minutes from my high school, and I was like, this is the high school I want to work with, not 30 minutes away. And so I just asked if there was anybody that was closer, and I was in the completely wrong.
Not even the same district.
Yeah, the completely wrong area.
Nice to meet you.
I wouldn't have even met him because he was in this other area that I moved into. Got accepted after what seemed to be many months of training.
We have a long process. Kind of feeling this urge of I want to be able to be involved in ministry.
Oh, and another thing though, that you grew up knowing about Young Life.
I grew up knowing about it.
And you kind of went to campaigners.
And I had a good experience.
Yeah.
I had a good experience with it. We had a bomb, area director, good crew in California that really poured in the kids, really opened up their homes, and so being a part of that and seeing that, I was encouraged to be a part of that in Colorado. And so after a little bit of kind of resistance in my heart, because I just wanted to do all the fun things in college too. I wanted I'd rather do the sports, rather do this. And, I wanted to do all the events, but I kept getting the Lord tugging on my heart, kind of being hey, this isn't growing you, and I want to use you.
So there was this new leader meeting, and it was with the whole area. So he was at a different school entirely. His was in Greeley, where his college was. Mine was in Windsor, which was like 20 minutes away.
Yeah,
it was very overwhelming because there was all the leaders were there, and I hadn't met any of them other than the ones that were at my school. You have no idea how long these leaders have been leading, so you're like, are you a new leader or an old leader? Like, I haven't met the new ones either, so it was a little bit awkward. So Nick was there at that meeting. I met a ton of people that night.
There's a lot of new faces.
So I was very overwhelmed. I don't think we talked. And then after the meeting, we went to Broom Ball, which I had no idea what the heck that was.
So
that was a new experience for me. I didn't even want to go, but because Mike and Jess were my ride, I had to go because they were going. So
yeah, typical Kendra. Might have skipped out on that.
I probably
like,
would have.
Late. Sorry.
So we went, and it was actually a lot of fun, which is typical for my life, is like I would rather say no, but then when I'm pushed to do something, I normally enjoy it. That was the first time that we actually had a conversation, was at the Broom Ball event. Multiple people had come up and just kind of talked to me because they knew that I was new now, because it was like everybody had been introduced to me. So they came up, they introduced themselves, a few people were talking to me. I remember him in particular came up, was super just like, hey, how's it going? Like in your face. Like, that is just who Nick is. And he was just like talking to me. He was like, yeah, like all this
awesome
stuff. He was crazy. From my point of view, I was like, wow, this guy has a lot of energy. And I thought his name was Brian. So I left thinking nothing of him in general, like not being like, oh my gosh, I really like him. I just remember being like, that guy was really talkative and really energetic, and I think his name is Brian. And what do you remember from that night?
Nothing. I really like to make a connection
and forget about it.
And shut you.
Is it really a connection if you forget the person?
I'm sorry. I have the memory of a goldfish.
If you know him at church, he jumps from person to person to person to person to person so he can see everybody that's there, whereas I will only seek out certain people. We're very different in that. He just wants to make everybody, feel welcomed, feel...
And forgotten.
When was the first time that you remember meeting me?
She's
So it was an all-area club, and then after, because that's only like a once-a-month thing.
And
after the all-area club, then the leaders will go out for pizza.
Because we're all together already.
We showed up late, so everyone had already had their seats.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to sit at the very end of the table.
Yes. I still remember the exact spot that you were in. So I do remember
things. He actually remembers me.
It's once it makes a connection, it like really sears. I don't know, I wanted to talk to you more. Make you feel not welcome, because some people might have already...
Make me feel not welcome?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Make you...
I wanted to make you feel not welcome. I was talking to the people that like I was sitting right next to, but it was starting to get later, and I was enjoying finally getting to talk to these people because I still just didn't feel like I knew anybody. I did stay a little bit later for that reason.
Because we talked. We had more meaningful conversation, more memorable for me.
So what were you thinking of me in those moments?
She's cute.
For a while we didn't get each other's numbers or anything, so we didn't talk at all. We only saw each other about 3 times a month. I think eventually you added me on Facebook, and then we Facebook messengered. Before we even got our phone numbers.
Yeah.
We didn't talk at all throughout the time. We literally only saw each other at most 3 times a month.
I looked forward to hanging out and talking and being with you, but yeah, in between those times, complete radio silence.
Neither one of us were interested in each other. I think there was this curiosity, but we weren't pursuing each other. We weren't going out of our way to talk to each other. As the times went on, I think we started to notice each other a little bit more, and we were more comfortable with each other from staying later on those nights and talking more.
Because more people leave, so it's not even oh, you're part of a big group anymore. It's really just
it's a little bit more of a close friendship. You can talk about other things. He would always try and sit by me, the signs of okay, I think this guy is interested. When I was at those meetings, I was just almost testing to see what he would do. So I would move to a different room and see if he'd follow. He followed. I would sit next to someone else or intentionally sit in a different place than I normally sit, and he would come over and find a way to get into my group, to get into sitting next to me. And so then I was like telling my roommate, I'm like, Lydia, I am so distracted by this guy. I want to
be productive here.
I wanted to focus on the meeting and this guy.
Can I sit here? Is there room? She would not just sit like in a different room or in a spot with all girls to see like, oh, I would sit like here. She would sit where there just wasn't room.
Yeah.
And like
that one specific time.
Yeah, one specific time. So there's like no room on the couch.
But Nick, who knows no personal space or boundaries.
And there's other spots. It's not like that I couldn't sit on the floor. Like, it's crowded. There's a lot of people in this house. But like, hey, is there room right here? I'm just gonna.
And then he just squeezed it. Yeah, we were literally
it wasn't
like
comfortable,
sardines on the couch.
Hey, so how you doing tonight?
He probably loved it. Specific time where we would get together in groups, something that we would have to like think about and then discuss with the group. And this one in particular was like, I think, what is some of your deepest heart desires? Or write down as many as you can, and then, if you feel like you can share some with your smaller group, because it would be like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 people would like split off and we would do group discussions.
And sometimes they would assign the groups. They'd be like, we meet with your area.
Yeah, sometimes.
So they would give you like parameters of like
school.
with your school.
Yeah.
Which, doesn't include
But this one was specifically like whoever was sitting close. So of course he's always sitting close to me. So he snuck into our group, and I remember writing down a lot. I think I still have that paper somewhere actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's somewhere. Maybe it's in my Bible. It was funny because I wrote down so many different things. If you remember, mine were like so spiritual. Which, I mean, at that time in my life, that was really just heavily on my heart. Was like, my deepest desire is to want to grow to be more like Christ. My deepest desire is to want like a deeper relationship with Him. I wrote down some personal ones, and I also wrote down like, I really want, a deep desire for mine is a godly relationship. I didn't say that because I was like, Nick's in this group. That's awkward. It was funny because one of his was he wanted
a godly relationship.
And he told the group.
Yep, and I think I looked at her while I said it too. And here's the other thing, is I didn't want it to be first because you went before me and yours were like...
Mine were very spiritual.
And so that was probably like pretty high up on my list. Just gonna leave that
Subtle. So yeah,
smooth.
That was kind of like him subtly hinting at like, okay, I think I'm ready. Although he didn't pursue that, he just
you're gonna notice the thing.
Dropped hints. I mean, that's how we met.
A lot of things had to come together in order for the Lord to bring her out of some rough times and line everything up perfectly for you to come to Colorado. For me to leave home and all my friends, and I had no connections in Colorado. There was not a single person that I knew.
Those were really crucial times for our faith. You went through some really tough stuff in college. I went through some really tough stuff, like as I was transitioning to Colorado. And so when I was in Colorado, it was like this huge rebuilding of who I was. So it was like this really beautiful time to come together with somebody else, because God had really, really worked on me to prepare me for the next relationship I was going to be in. Everything like flowed well in the timing of like God preparing our hearts. We both had relationships prior, so it was like we needed to move on from those things, have the Lord work in our hearts, and then we met each other. And the rest is history. The rest is history.
The rest is history. Wait, 3, 2, 1.
And the rest is history.
I'm gonna know that's rehearsed.
Obviously. I think if you guys are interested, we also have more to our long distance relationship. If you are wondering how we even did that, we probably have some tips we could give people for long distance relationships, because we were in a long distance relationship for pretty much our whole relationship. We'll talk about that. And then just kind of move through our relationship and things we've learned. And still learning a lot. Oh my gosh. Marriage is hard.
It never stops.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one.